Hi everybody, welcome to my Instagram live called Restaurant Live, and I'm really pleased to say today that I've got a fabulous guest of mine, Chef Sophie Michell, who is coming live from Barbados. I can't wait to get her on board as soon as she comes in, providing all of the lines are clean and clear from Barbados. I don't know what the weather's like in Barbados, but we will soon hear, I hope, in a minute. The Restaurant Live is, if anyone saw yesterday, we had the amazing John Williams, the executive head chef of the Ritz yesterday, and just waiting for her. I always just get nervous at these bits because waiting for the guests to come on. But anyway, yeah, we had John Williams yesterday, and he was great fun. I've known John for a long time, and it was wonderful to. Hello, Tom Aikens. How are you? and Sophie Michell. Ah, there you are, Sophie. So do I press this? I think I do. Go live with Sophie Michell. Whether that's I press that. I presume I do. Have I done everything I'm supposed to do? Waiting for Sophie Michell. Hi Tom, connecting. And there you are. Can you hear me? Hello, darling.
How are you?
I am brilliant. How are you? Donna said hi, Dazzler. Tom Aikens is watching this. We'll have quite a few other chefs and everyone watching. And I had hi, darling. Are you all right?
I'm good. I'm so terrible at videoing myself for Instagram, so just tell me off if I move around too much. We've got a bit of a sea view behind us. You guys can see it.
I can.
So hopefully I can bring a bit of Barbados sunshine to you all.
Well, thank you. So the big question is, why are you in Barbados?
Well, yeah, so we've been helping some friends out here with an eco restaurant concept they're working on, and we've been here for a month in February. And obviously we kind of slowly saw the coronavirus stuff unraveling in the UK and worldwide. And we'd planned to move out of London already, and it just happened to be slap bang in the middle of what was going to be lockdown. And you know, I have a heart condition from the pregnancy and stuff like that, so I'm high risk. And actually we just thought, you know what, let's put brakes on everything, because obviously income is very unpredictable at the moment in our industry, sadly. And we just thought we'd come back here for lockdown as opposed to be in London, which, right, you know, it's nice. I am pleased we did. But like anything, it was quite kind of like scary coming over here in terms of logistics and not knowing what was going to happen. But they've only had about 90 odd cases here. And they were very strict on lockdown. Like there were no alcohol sales, no one could buy any alcohol, not allowed on the beach. Supermarkets were closed, so it was just, yeah, it's been exciting, interesting, and now we're coming out the other end, which is great. So
lovely. And so, okay, so whilst we're on the Barbados theme, and I know you've had two hits of us now. You've had Donna for an hour before, and you've got me now.
No, it's great. Great to see you.
It's lovely to see you. You know where I'm sitting. You know this kitchen well, or where I'm sitting. And so I know Barbados. I know that whole stretch very well. I know obviously the restaurants in Barbados are famous, if you like, certainly within the UK, with the Cliff and Simpson and Lone Star and Fishpot and Sandy Lane and Tides. And Tammy, I hear from on LinkedIn, because I've been doing a bit of cooking. So what are you doing out there? You said you're working on a project. Who are you with? Or
I mean, I'm not officially working on it full time. I was just, lucky you. Why don't I have a glass of champagne? No, I'm not officially working on it.
We normally send champagne to all our guests. But unfortunately, now there's an upside and downside. The upside is you're in Barbados. The downside is we can't get it out there to you at the moment.
I know. Don't worry. It's all good. I've got lots of rum. And it is only 10 o'clock in the morning, so it might seem a bit strange.
That's true. Well, I'm going to have one and say cheers anyway.
Cheers. I'm not officially working on it. It's really just a project that friends are doing. It's an eco restaurant right on the seafront. It's literally kind of just there, if you can see, just there.
Right.
Um, and it's all about using local produce because, as you know, 90% of food on the menus here is imported.
Yeah.
And once that's fine and that's good and well, and there's a market for that. I think we all need to look at kind of localizing our ingredients and our food supply chain now. So my friends started Slow Food Barbados 10 years ago. We actually set up a soup kitchen, so I've been helping them during lockdown feed vulnerable families on the north of the island. We've done 4,000 portions of hearty soup and stew so far. So we deliver it 3 times a week via the schools and via the parish. So we've been working on that quite heavily, and then hopefully the restaurant will be opening later in the year. So realistically, I've been doing charity work since we've got here, but also just trying to kind of see what's going on the island and look at this restaurant concept with them. So yeah, it's exciting. It's an amazing island. There is actually, since COVID and since coronavirus, everyone's been looking at the farmers more to source their ingredients, and I get amazing organic beef and pork delivered to the house, amazing vegetables, so actually it's really been exciting for us here.
Well, I know Barbados really well. I don't know how many times. I think I would have been there 20 times, I'm sure. and it's a great location. It's a great venue. It has a richness. It's got a great culture, of course. But you're absolutely right. One of the secrets right now for these Caribbean islands are to try and produce as much as they can locally. Now, Barbados is a big island compared to some of the others. And so, opportunity. I think you probably remember when I last saw you. So I'm working with the Cayman Islands, and we were looking. Now, there's a scenario there, which is a tiny island. And I took Claire Smith out there a couple of years ago, and I was taking Claude Bossy out actually on March the 27th this year. But of course, we couldn't go. Cayman is such a shame. It's absolutely locked down because, again, like Barbados, the only way you can get there really is by plane. Majority of the tourism, obviously you can do a bit of cruising and that, but cruise ships is exactly the same problem, So you're in a lockdown scenario. So using local projects and somewhere like Barbados and having somebody like you direct helping and assisting, I would imagine. So is the plan for you now, are you going to be, is the plan to stay there for a while now?
Well, I don't know, because in all honesty, I'm still with Byron and I'm still overseeing all food and drink at Byron. So, and that, is a job that I absolutely love. And we were very much not finished. My role is very much not finished there. We were just about to launch my new menu finally across all 55 restaurants. And it was being launched again, like the 23rd of March. So everything was put a stop to. So I'm more than likely going to come back and continue some work with Byron. And then who knows what the future holds, though, because the fact is with the restaurant industry now all over the world, no one knows what's going to happen. Are we going to be able to open and sustain any sort of business? 55 restaurants, mainly in central London, it is a real challenge to see how we can have enough income to sustain that. We're lucky that we've got a fantastic Deliveroo business model and Deliveroo market, so that's great, and that will continue to sustain us. But yeah, so it's all up in the air. My Heathrow restaurant, the Good Kitchen, is actually closed as well at the moment. So who knows really? But I'm still working in the UK. Definitely, I'm still doing work in the UK.
So on 4 o'clock, I go to do a Zoom call with about 250 to 300 restaurants. We do the Restaurant Association / UKH call, and we'll have an update there from Kate Nichols, who's so just putting my Restaurant Association hat on here for a second, just to give you a bit of info, because so you know what's going on. They reckon now the latest thing over here is that the restaurants will now be able to open on the 22nd of June and not the 4th of July, or before the 4th of July. And also, it's the big thing, it's the 2 meter, 1 meter rule. That's a massive game changer. If it's 1 meter, it's 70%. If it's 2 meter, it's 30% of your facility normally. So we will hear later today whether that's going to happen. But a couple of things for you a couple of locations that we have, you know, everything's about data now. Switzerland has
Yeah.
gone straight back in, really high percentage of occupancy in their restaurants, and so has
Yeah.
Berlin, the two countries that have opened up. So it does seem that one of the issues for me, and I equally was poorly a couple of years ago, as you know. So one of the issues for me was, how safe will I be going into a location with lots of people?
Yeah.
And it feels like the guidance hasn't come out yet from the government, so we're going to get that. But it feels like it just sort of feels for me at the moment that providing the guidance is clear and the 1 meter rule is safe and everyone's happy, restaurants should. Central London is going to be really central, as in city. It's going to be a bit tough, but restaurants should seem to come back quite quickly. We will wait and see.
I mean, I hope so. The thing is, the government, I mean, without being political, the government isn't being very decisive, and there seems to be a lot of different information going around. And I think part of the reasons why we came back to Barbados was because I actually had a bit more confidence in how they handle the situation over here than in the UK. And I think, which is really sad, because the UK is a country I've been living in obviously my whole life, and London's the city I've lived in for 20 years. So I think if the government can really focus on it, the hospitality industry is an industry which is actually really important to our economy. We you know, we employ so many people. It's so much intrinsically part of everyone's life that we just need to, we need to have decisions to be made, and it needs to be
absolutely. And what about, what is it in Barbados? We're talking about restaurants. I was going to come to talk at the moment. I'm just really, I thought, well, I'm not going to ask you anything on email. I'm going to ask you everything about what you're doing and why you're and Barbados, as I say, I know very well. What about hi Angie, hi, loads of people joining, by the way, which is great. What about the restaurants in Barbados? What is it? Are they open yet or not?
So they have just opened again. There's a curfew. So there's, like I said, it's been very strict here. So there's a curfew from 8 until 5 a.m. It was full time. Now it's just Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So restaurants can't do dinners at weekends, but they can open for lunch and dinner now the rest of the week. There is the social distancing 6 feet rule. Everyone has to wear a mask. You're not allowed in shops if you're not wearing a mask. You're not allowed in restaurants if you're not wearing a mask. And you get, hand sanitized everywhere you go. And, they did it very structured kind of shopping routines and schedules too. You can only shop on certain days if your surname began with a certain letter. It was quite complex. But restaurants here, I think, the plus point is that the virus doesn't seem to survive very well in the heat. It doesn't seem to, reproduce so quickly in the heat. So there's a lot of outdoor eating space here as well, which helps a lot. So it'll be interesting to see. I know my friends, they are looking at the structure of the restaurant. They haven't.
Hello. Where have you gone? Now that's going to be interesting. we're transmitting to Barbados, so if you can hear me, Sophie, you've just sort of disappeared. Oh, there you are. Yeah, I lost you for a minute.
So I think I'm looking at the design of restaurants and how everything's being structured.
Okay, and what about the beaches? Are the beaches open now?
They've just opened them. So it was only open from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. So now they've just opened them, which is so lovely because the part of the culture here is all about being on the beach. And actually, it's an incredibly social island, as you know. I mean, it's everyone wants to be out in the rum bars and having fun together. So it's been a shame. We've been missing that social interaction so much.
I know. I mean, I do have great memories of Randy Wilkie, the general manager of Sandy Lane, and I love, I have great memories. But so let's just move on a little bit because our time will run out otherwise. So I wanted to just tell you that one of the things I was going to talk to you about, not knowing you were in Barbados when I emailed you in the beginning, was that we just launched Young Chef, Young Waiter over here. And the wonderful thing about it, Sophie, is that we launched it online. And so you're working with Bahrain and now. So when I say we launched it last year, we redesigned it. I mean, you may remember I was telling about it and talking about it, but we redesigned it to be an online application and judging process. And we did that because the chefs were so time poor and were so busy that what we thought we would do is we would make the application and the judging process purely online. And so we could come to the final just 2 days. So if anyone had to come and to be there, then it's just literally so much, just a tiny period of time for them, and they can commit to that. But of course, where we're now sitting in where our young talent is sitting at home right now, furloughed, and they're waiting to get back and waiting to start. And as you rightly say, it's not every restaurant in the country is suddenly going to open up on the 22nd of June or the 4th of July or anytime in August. It's going to be a slow run until the restaurants get busier, and then slowly this. But what is really important is to keep this young, talented, professional team energized, motivated, and engaged, you know? And that's been something that I've had a passion for, as you know. So we launched Young Chef, Young Waiter. It's gone off really, really well. I've had some amazing chefs, along with you and plenty of others, on this live. We call it Restaurant Live. And Jason Atherton and Claude Bosey and Tom Aikens and John Williams yesterday, who I love.
I'm in very good company, I have to say.
Oh, they're in very good company, darling. They're in very good company. You have the best location so far, let me tell you that. And next week we've got, I've got Thomas Keller on Monday.
Amazing.
Good will that be? I mean, you know I know Tom. And I've got Francesco Mazzi on Friday. And do you know what this does? So one we want to talk about Young Chef, Young Waiter. And by the way, finishing on that note, any of your young chefs within the Barham group, this is open to all young chefs and young waiters, young professionals, 26 and under. And I don't care whether you...
Great, well, because you know, part of my career and how my career kind of started and how I got any sort of kind of notoriety was through competitions. Because I was nominated for Young Chef of the Year when I was 19, and I did loads of competitions from the age of 17 to 20, and it was fantastic because it gave me an opportunity to meet really key players in the industry, and it gave me an opportunity to be out and about and be part of the industry more. And I think that's the problem, that there's too many chefs now who do the job because they want to get paid, but they don't necessarily, this is generalization, obviously, there's loads of very passionate chefs too, but I feel like we still need to engage the young chefs more in our industry, and I think they need to understand they're part of something amazing, and these competitions are really, really important for that.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. John Williams said exactly the same thing yesterday. He said that competitions are brilliant for growing young talent because, you know, they can really put themselves into different situations. The competition of Young Chef, Young Waiter is 41 years old this year, and some of the winners are Marcus Waring, Nathan Outlaw, Mark Sargent. My young winner of last year, Rick Henderson, is now working with Tom Aikens. So, you know, and it's not just, and it's all about, you know, I talk about the chefs at the moment because but I should be also focusing all the time on the waiters, because without them, of course, you might as well forget it, because you can do the best food in the world if you haven't got that special service. And yesterday we were really focusing with John on the service and on how important it is, the front of house. I don't even like using that term, because if I use that term on Monday, front of house, Thomas Keller will immediately say, so am I back of house then, am I back?
Yeah.
Are you saying
at Byron, we really try to come up with a different name for, I mean, server. It's more like, essentially a waiter is a host. You're hosting the guests in the restaurant, and it should be you should feel like you're hosting them almost, you know, as you would if they were your friends at a party. You know, it's that sort of thing. They are so important, you know, and I wish I could say that the food is the most important thing, but actually I really feel like the service generally is, because that's what brings it together. That's what gives the chefs, you know, their platform, really. So yeah, no, I agree. The service is really vital.
Well, it's the same, you know, it's exactly the same the world over. But and Thomas will say that we are all part of the team. There's a football.
Yeah.
He said, so if you're in the goal and you're at the back of the football team, and if you're a striker, you're at the front of you're part of the team. And whether you're
Yeah.
the guy, opening the doors or the guy cleaning the pots, you're the same team. And I like that analogy. I quite like that. I think that's, again,
Yeah,
Thomas
I do.
will make it all simple. But the same as in Barbados, you could go to those incredible restaurants on the beach, and the food the world over is so much better than it was just 10 years ago. We know that. We know that going out to a meal in the UK, going to a pub in Yorkshire or a restaurant or a pub in Cornwall, wherever you are, you should get a good meal. There's no excuse anymore. Yeah. Produce is fabulous. You can shop locally. But if you don't have that bang on service, then you won't go back there again. Doesn't matter what the poor old chef.
The service is quite good. I mean, they do have good restaurants in Barbados. I think the thing that that is coming to light over here is we've really got to be less reliant on imports and really more engaged with the food we have on the island. And you know yourself, you can get I get amazing organic beef and pork and chickens reared on the island, but also I can get goat's cheese, I can get cheddar cheese that's made here, Hatchman's goat's cheese. There's amazing farmers that I've been talking to about these kind of beautiful, it's more of a case of like, I'm talking to farmers about what they can do for us in 3 months' time. So it really is starting the process at the very beginning. And then we're looking at having like a circular economy more. So everything goes back into the restaurant. With Slow Food Barbados, with the soup drive, we are getting donations from farmers. We have well-known chefs from the island like Ria Gilks, etc. They're coming and donating their time. We're making the soup. All the offcuts go into a compost, which goes back to the farmers. So it's this real kind of circular economy, which an island especially needs, because you need to be more self-sustainable and can't rely on outside imports. And I think what coronavirus did is made everyone think about that here, because obviously being an island, you're dependent on what comes in on the ships. And if things like coronavirus can really stop that from happening. So hopefully that's changed everyone's minds worldwide a little bit about how we process our food and how we have a food supply chain.
So I don't know whether I've been doing some cooking, Sophie.
I know, I've seen you. It's super good.
And this for me has given me time to cook again.
Yeah.
And concentrate and think about it without just cooking like, I got into cooking at home as just cooking at home like everybody else. And then we decided to do Donna filming, which is a hoot. And we decided to do something. And whether I'm now doing a sausage roll, Welsh rarebit, or whatever it may be, or a lobster thermidor, or whatever, I'm really thinking about it like I used to think about food. I only have to do one dish a day, so it's not like I'm running a menu, but I've been cooking since I was 24.
No, it's very good. You're very good. And the recipes look really good. I saw the sausage rolls and I was like, I really want some of them.
Well, the thing is, but even the sausage roll, I wanted to make it a good, we can all do these things. And I've said to you many times, I've got one of your books here, many times, your desserts and some of the things you do are some of the most prettiest desserts I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because you're there, because I've told you that.
You.
And I still remember that meringue one with the cherries and bits and bobs, whatever it was. It was so beautiful. And you're a very, very talented chef. But it is obvious. So tomorrow, the reason I brought that up is we're going to do one tomorrow where I won't say who's coming. I've got a special guest coming, and she is bringing in a whole lot of produce, natural produce, forage produce, if that's the right word. But things that you literally can pick off the ground, and we're going to do things like that. And we're going to have and it's a sort of box of goodies. I don't quite know what we're going to get yet, but we're going to actually almost do a bit of a ready, steady cook, and we're going to see what we've got.
I love it. Well, funnily enough, we you can see the green net in the background.
Yeah.
But you know my husband Owen, well, Bobby, we've been to see many times, but he's set up this kind of covered garden, and we're growing quite a lot of stuff now. We've got a lot of rocket and chilies and herbs and zucchini and stuff growing, and it's all covered because we have so many bloody monkeys who come and nick all the veg.
Oh, whereabouts are you living? You're not near the golf courses up there, right? Whereabouts are you living at the moment?
No, we are just near Fishpot, so we're on Speightstown, above Speightstown, and
Yes.
actually it's a very beautiful kind of little cottage on 2.5 acres of land, and we have monkeys that come and say hello every day, and hummingbirds which fly around, and my I've got a 17-month-old. He loves just running around the garden basically, so it's very nice. It's nice for us here.
One of those. I have a picture here, Sophie, of when
Uh,
prior to you having the 17 months.
I was so heavily pregnant and I was working so many hours. I was still doing 60 hours a week. It was insane, actually.
I know.
In my bid to show that women can work when we're pregnant and have babies as chefs. But, it was, I loved Home House. Home House is a beautiful place to work, and the restaurants were stunning. And it was a really good, interesting experience for me. I would say, sadly, obviously, I was very ill. I have a heart problem that came on. Because of a pregnancy, basically, and because of me working too hard, if I'm being honest. But that's all good now. I'm fine now. So and Oscar's very healthy, and I'm very healthy now. So, but yeah, it was an interesting. That was a great photo shoot though, and it's a great place to work.
It was a lovely picture. Well, I wanted to send it out. Maybe one day we'll still send it out. Because I just wanted to, it was about really showing, not that we want everyone to work 60 hours a week when they're pregnant, but it was just showing that, we want more girls and females in the hospitality sector, in cooking, and
Yeah.
all, with all the chefs I've just mentioned. Ruth Hampson was on, who was one of the young winning chefs many years ago. Not many years ago, she's only 20.
No, I judged her on Young Chef of the Year. I judged her, and she's brilliant. She's amazing.
And she's one of my judges of Young Chef in Waiting. What I've actually done with those is I've made sure that the young chefs keep engaged. So my two winners are now judges going forward. So they will judge
That's
as well.
brilliant.
Keep them engaged.
Yeah.
But also it's not an easy business to be in as a girl. And I mean that. But there's a perfect example of a situation where you are working hard. You're pregnant. I don't know how you were pretty.
I was about 7 months pregnant then, and I think the thing is, I was fine during the pregnancy, and I think I really wanted people to understand that if you're pregnant, it doesn't mean you can't. This whole thing that people treat you like your brain disappears. It's like you've had a frontal lobotomy. That's how people treat you sometimes when you're pregnant. So I think that needs to be broken down, because actually, no one is more determined and focused than a pregnant woman, because you've got a real time limit on you. You know what I mean? So you can definitely still have. I mean, I'm very lucky. I always say, push yourself as much as possible in your career as a female chef, because when you get to the senior levels or more senior levels, you can accommodate things like a pregnancy more. And I think a lot of women feel like they can't have a baby and be a chef, and so therefore they kind of almost limit themselves.
Hang on, she's just. Every time this happens, I go into nervous spin here to see whether she's going to come back. Sophie, I've just lost you, darling. If you can hear me. Somebody, by the way, Scott, saying loving this chat. I'm loving this chat. I've known Sophie for a long, long time. Oh, there you are. I just lost you as quickly on the second.
Sorry about that. No, I was just saying that female chefs really need to just try and get to that. Don't limit yourselves, because it is possible to have kids and be a chef, and it is possible to have, to be pregnant and manage work. Despite what happened with my health, that's a kind of separate thing. I've had health problems for years on and off, and I think you just need to realize that the more senior you are in your role, the more accommodating you can be to having a baby, and employers are getting more understanding now. I personally think the chefing hours are perfect for flexible working hours, because split shifts, end at 3, you can go and pick your kids up. There's definitely things that we can be more accommodating in our industry for, I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. Look, you're a great ambassador for girls to come into the hospitality business, and somebody like Ruth is one of those girls that came in, and we've got, we had quite a lot of girls and youngsters in the under 26 bracket of Young Chef Young Waiter last year. So I was really really pleased
Yeah.
about that, and it is, we want more and more female. We want more females to come into the hospitality sector. So just, I'm concerned about your signal. I don't want to just lose you and disappear. Just
Sorry.
a quick bit about you, and how where did you start? I mean, I obviously met you. I think I met you at when you were at the what was the one on the corner of
Belgrave.
Belgrave there?
Belgrave.
No,
Yeah, Belgrave's Hotel, which is now
the
the Harry
Belgrave.
Hotel. Yeah, so I've been a chef since I was 14. I left school early, and didn't do any GCSEs or anything. I left with no qualifications just because I really wanted to cook, and that was that, and I knew what I wanted to do. So I went to work in kitchen straight away. Moved to London when I was 17, and carried on from there. And I worked in some amazing Michelin star kitchens, which I was very privileged to work in, even though it was a massively, tough job. And it's a very different scene to what it is now. And then went from there. So I've always worked very
Did
hard.
you, which ones did you work in, Sophie?
I worked at a greenhouse restaurant with Paul Merritt. I worked at the Embassy with Gary Hollyhead, who was a brilliant chef. I loved working with Gary. I did my training and work experience at Belainsborough with Paul Gaylor, and quickly, a very brief stint at Claridge's and Le Gavroche. So it was like a priest with Mark Hicks was executive chef there. Now he's a friend, and I remember being like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
17-year-old me in there. So no, all of those iconic restaurants, I kind of got an insight to, which was just fabulous, and it was really a key to my work, really.
And when did you write the first book, and how many books have you written now?
I've done 8 now, and I did my first book when I was 21, I think I was. I was a baby, and actually it was all about healthy eating. So I had avocado on toast and quinoa and all that sort of stuff in there, well before it was fashionable. But that was because my background, my mum was very interested in healthy eating, and I'd cooked for Claudia Schiffer for 3 years, so I got into healthy eating a bit for her. And Leonardo DiCaprio, one for girls and one for boys. But yeah, so it was all, yeah, and that was interesting. And then I did some TV after that, which obviously is fantastic for selling books, and it's fantastic for kind of raising your profile and stuff. So it's been a really exciting kind of exciting career, really, with ups and downs as always. But I think it's really good for people to understand that there's such a lot of scope in our industry, especially now with Instagram and blogging and YouTube. It is a fantastic industry for people to join.
Well, I've learned more about, I mean, here's a perfect example. I'm a dinosaur at technology. If Donnie's not here, I suddenly panic mode. But I'm sort of getting there now. I've learned more about Instagram over the last 3 weeks than I've probably learned over the last 3 years. But also you can see how you can get, you've suddenly frozen again, Sophie, so I'll just keep talking. But how you can get out to a new audience in such a short space of time. It's just amazing. It really is. And did you hear that, Sophie?
It's cut out for 2 minutes, but yeah, Instagram's a fantastic platform for chefs.
I was just saying how I've started doing this cooking, and it was done. It was done as a Donna said, well, we'll do it, and Claire, who does Donna's Pier, let's just do it. We've now done 55 videos. And have a completely new audience, and it's all happened in 6 weeks, and I'm loving it. And the other thing that it brings on with Instagram is this. So this starts, and then, well, why don't we do this, and why don't we do that? I've spoken to all of my dear friends and chefs, and I've learned things about them in this conversation that I didn't know every venue you worked at, and all the time I've spoken to you, we've never spoken about that.
No, you don't, do you? You forget your career goes on so long that things become unimportant. But I think from a young chef's perspective, I think it's great to do some time in Michelin star restaurants. I highly recommend it. So.
Now, before you go, Donna has just given me this book. which is one of your books, and she says, "This is what I want for Saturday. It's your cheese crackers." And whilst I'm doing this, because I might even film it, it says here. Now this is an interesting one. So this, do you know this? Do you know this dish? You may not even know this dish. It might have been written a long time ago. But it's
No,
your
not
cheese
too
crackers,
long.
200 grams of mozzarella. Okay, so it says grated mozzarella. That's going to be a bit wet.
No, this is
Hang
a
on.
recipe. Can you hear me?
I can. I've got you now. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my sugar-free baking book. So this is all low carb, no sugar, high protein recipes. And actually, because I was diagnosed with diabetes a couple of years ago, basically this pastry that the crackers are made from, it's called fathead pastry, and it's an American thing, but it's made up of cream cheese, mozzarella, and almonds and eggs. So it's super high in fat, but really good if you're on a low carb diet. And when you use grated mozzarella, get the literally pre-packeted grated mozzarella because it's dry and it's
Right.
like used on a lot of pizzas basically, and that's the one you want.
Ah, right. Okay. And then I add the almonds and the cream and an egg and some thyme.
Yeah,
Right. Got it.
it's a quite strange recipe because you have to get it's basically like a massive melted creamy cheese and the almonds hold it together, then you roll it out and cook it. But for a low carb, high protein diet, it's brilliant.
They look fabulous. I did a flatbread. Well, it was actually ended up as a naan bread the other day. It was one of my, and something I'm doing, I've never cooked before. So they're sort of, as I go along, I'm saying, well, let's see how it works. This bread it was basically a flatbread, but with a bit of yeast, and we let it go. And then, so you're turning it into a naan in a way, in a sort of way.
Yeah.
Put it in the pan, let it bubble, flip it over. Oh my goodness, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Bit of garlic butter. It was amazing.
Well, you know, I do one with I did one in my Greek yogurt cookbook, and it's just you don't use yeast, you just actually use the Greek yogurt as a kind of slight leavening agent, and it's super simple.
Sorry, I put some Greek yogurt in that was one of my ingredients.
Yeah.
I put some Greek yogurt in with the yeast and the flour.
It's great. I mean, flatbreads I'm a big fan of. Over here, I've just started using cassava flour, which essentially is from yucca or cassava, and it's gluten free. In fact, Donna will love the tortilla recipe, so I'll send you guys the tortilla recipe because it's really good. It's a bit fiddly, but it's great end result if you get it right.
Sophie, it's an absolute delight to speak to you, and thank you for your time. I'm conscious of the of our line popping in and out, but it's just so lovely to see you.
Yeah, you too. And it's been so lovely to have you, Donna first, and then you, and see you both. And you know, we all missed you lots. So when we come back, which we will probably sooner rather than later, let's try and have a socially distanced meal and glass champagne together for sure.
Wouldn't that be lovely? I mean, let's hope that we're 1 meter, at least 1 meter. We can sit around a table then at 1 meter, which is lovely.
Exactly. Well, we'll look to see what they say this afternoon on that then.
All right. Well, look, loves you all, and be safe. And it's just so nice to see you. Look great. And
thank you. You too. You too.
You've won the award so far for the best location of mine.
Good. All right. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye now.